terms of early snaps? Is he maybe among the freshmen in the running for the most?
Oh, man, I think they're all in the running right now, 5 days in. I mean, he's flashed for sure. He's just like we thought. He's really, really fast. I mean, he is really, really fast. And, he and Tink have really, I think, shined well in that slot. I mean, they're both playing the slot and getting a little bit of work at the Z as well. But, we got two good ones right there. Feel really good about both of them. Ball skills, natural athletes. Tink's impressive. He's got just unbelievable instincts for the game. And Tyler, same way. I mean, he can really, really run, and both of them can run. I would say Tink's just really smooth, knows what to do with the ball in his hands, and Tyler is probably further along than I thought he might be from a technical standpoint. So I knew he could run, but from a technique standpoint and just his ability to grasp on, he's a little further along than I thought he might be. So I'm really pleased with both of those guys, really the whole group. Noble has played Z and X for us, and Noble has made some progress since the spring for sure. And then Ronan's, he's coming. He flashes, but he's got a lot on his plate right now.
We talked to Xavier Thomas the other day. Opposite him is going to be Justin Maskell, guy who's been in the program a long time. Do you think he's ready to step up and be the guy?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I'm excited for him. I really am. And I'm just praying he can stay healthy, and he and X. I just really, I literally pray for both those guys, man, because I just want them to have a great year, and they only really need one good year to put it together, I think, to really just best position themselves. And I'm hoping that Mask will be that KJ Henry guy this year. That's what my hope is. KJ went from probably a high priority free agent, 7th round type guy to 4th, 5th round guy this year, and really had a heck of a year for us and took his game to another level. And I'm really hopeful for Maskell and the same thing. I'm really pleased with where he is. He looks great physically. He's just got a lot of confidence to him, and hopefully he can stay healthy and put it all together.
Dabo, all week we've been hearing from your players about their relationships with other players and how everybody motivates each other, whether that's Rook and Tyler Davis or even Will Shipley in that whole running back room. But what do you think is more important, the inspiration between players or the inspiration between coaches and players?
I think they're both very important for sure. But I think, you want a group of guys that love each other and are connected. Ultimately, they got to go play the game. It's best when you have total connectivity and chemistry with your coaches and your players for sure. But there's nothing like a close football team, that really truly loves each other, cares for each other, knows each other, beyond the practice field or the locker room. And, this team is, I think I've said many times, I think that's one of the more underrated things in a team is chemistry and, leadership that comes with that. And this team's got really good chemistry. They really do, like each other. They care for each other. They're practicing the right way, competing hard, but taking care of each other as well and from a practice standpoint. But a lot of guys that that's what football does. It creates relationships for the rest of your life. And these guys in that locker room, they'll be connected forever for sure.
What's your evaluation of Dietrich right now and sort of where he is? I saw he's going out there with the twos, I guess.
Yeah, he's coming. He's making some progress. He's putting his best days, together. Really since he's been here. This time last year, obviously, again, the story of Dietrich, I thought he was going to play as a freshman and then tore his ACL, and it really just kind of took him a while to get back. Didn't really train like he needed to train, just a little bit of immaturity, I think, and just got behind. And but man, he's made some progress this spring. His body's in a great spot. He's strong. He's lean. I think the biggest thing is just really his endurance. That's probably sometimes he can get a little tired and he get a little sloppy, but he's stacking his best days. He's been pretty consistent So I'm really pleased with Dietrich. I mean, this kid's got unlimited ability. He really does. I mean, he's got unlimited ability, can be as good as he wants to be. He's competing with Walker Parks right there right now, and and Marcus Tate. So that's a tall task, and he's growing into it, and I like what he's doing to this point, 5 days in.
In spring, you said you really missed having Adam Randall out there. Now that he is back out there, just what are you seeing from him?
He's been great. All these guys. We missed Adam. We missed Bo. We missed, Ronan, Tink. We missed Tyler Brown. I mean, we had some dudes not out there. So, I mean, we just got more depth, healthy depth in a while. And it's just great to see those guys. But Adam he's same thing. He's stacking days. I mean, he's making plays. He's being consistent. He's not making many mental errors. He's practicing fast. His endurance has been really good. He just seems healthy. He's moving well. So there's really nothing to not like, at this point. So same thing. Just pray that he can put it all together and stay healthy, because if he's on the field, he's going to make some plays for us.
We've heard reports that the ACC might be looking into adding some teams. Do you have thoughts on that, about the expansion? How do you feel about the team playing teams across the country?
Yeah, I have zero thoughts about it. I mean, I know that's definitely a question you got to ask, but that's what administrators do. I have zero thoughts or concerns about that. We're getting ready to play. I mean, we got about 26 days or so. I mean, that's where my thoughts are. So it doesn't even cross my mind at this point.
At running back, you like the way Thomas and Keith Adams have started camp, and
Yeah.
Is Thomas still a little bit ahead, or are they pretty even?
Well, I mean, we've just been in pads 2 days, so we got a long way to go. They're all repping, Dominique has done a heck of a job. I mean, he's a good football player, natural runner. Man, Keith caught my eye today. He just really runs behind his pads really well. He's made some progress. He's become more confident in his pass pro and just, all that stuff. And then I really like the two young guys. Jarvis is a very polished guy, as you would think, who he is and where he's coming from and what he's been exposed to. And I tell you, man, that little Jay Haynes, ain't nothing little about him. He's got some natural stuff to him. He really does. I hadn't heard him say a word since he got here. But man, I've noticed him. I've noticed him on the field. So I'm excited to kind of keep going and see how those guys all kind of pan out as we go through camp and get into some scrimmage work. And, if tomorrow's the first day, we'll get a little bit of live work. We'll do a little short yardage and some goal line tomorrow as we can keep building toward the scrimmage on Saturday. So still in our acclimatization period, if you will. But all those backs have really flashed. I mean, they've all done a nice job, not disappointed anybody. And, Shipley and Maffa have been really good, just like we thought they'd be, and just really focused, very mature. So we think we got a good group.
Have you noticed any sort of difference in Cade and how he carries himself or interacts with the team as you guys have gotten into scrimmage or practices and stuff now, even compared back to spring, now that he's got this time under his belt, both with Garrett and with being QB1? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, he just comes with the territory. I think as you get in that position, you have all these opportunities to lead. Sometimes guys don't take those opportunities, and he has. I mean, he's a natural leader. And, coming into the spring, he's trying to really assert himself as, okay, hey, I'm the guy. And, and then it just, you go through it. You go through the spring, you go through the summer, the off season, all the stuff, all the skills and drills, and you get into camp, and it's fun to see that. I mean, there's just a lot of confidence in him, and he has confidence. He's always had confidence, but you can see that his teammates have a lot of respect and a lot of confidence. But they've also seen him work, and they've seen what he's done physically and mentally. His guy's always in the film room. He does everything that you could want. So definitely a difference, even from the spring in that role.
You guys appreciate how he handled last year, the graciousness when he did get to play for DJ, the way he could kind of come in and handle the ups and downs of what was a pretty precarious situation, I'm sure, for any quarterback to be in.
Sure. Yeah, these guys, they all understand the situation. I mean, especially when you play that position, just kind of comes with the territory. But some handle it better than others, and I think that's just a credit to Cade and who he is as a kid, his family. I mean, he's how he was coached in high school. I mean, and then just again who he is as a person. I mean, he's just wired. He's just wired that way. He's an unbelievable competitor, but he's incredibly respectful and a very humble kid.
What have you seen at left tackle so far?
I've been pretty pleased. I mean, we've tried to, we're trying to create some competition there. I think Tristan has really held up well. I mean, I've heard me brag on him a bunch, man. I love everything about Tristan Lee. I just love that, and he's not perfect, but here's what I love about him. There's nobody that cares more than that guy. And if he makes a mistake, he usually don't make it again. But he's really held up well. I'm really pleased with Colin Sadler. Man, Sadler I'm super excited. It kind of worked out. He would have ended up playing last year, and he ended up getting hurt and was out. But he's a redshirt freshman. I tell you what, man. Him and Blake Miller in that group, that was two really good ones. And Colin's right there. And then we've slid Marcus Tate out there, Mitchell Mays. I mean, we're trying to create as much tackle depth as we can. We feel good about where we are inside and all the versatility, but we want to create a good, 3 to 5 guys that we feel good about can go play tackle for us. But it's competitive right now. Not disappointed in anybody. I'm more, pleased, to be honest with you, than what I've seen. But to this point, but Tristan's held his own, and then Sadler, he's right there too.
Putting him at center now that he's had a year under his belt. Is it nice not to have that question mark kind of looming? Man, yeah. I mean, what an amazing job that kid did last year. I mean, really unbelievable. If we go from a guy that's never snapped to just the type of season that he had last year, and so it's awesome. He's one of those high career rep guys that we'll manage a little bit over the next week as it really piles up, and keep bringing Linthicum and Trent, and those two guys have done a good job. So we like our 3 centers right there. They've all 3 got, they've got a pretty good little foundation to them, and having been in the program and all that stuff. So, but Putnam is, I mean, he's, like I said, I call him Mr. Putnam most of the time, and there's not a more respected kid on the team than that guy.
I think the offensive line was talking about, in particular, just about how they have a little more control in terms of seeing things at the line and making calls, pass protection. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of always been that way. I mean, the center's got a lot of control, always has. Honestly, we've taken a little bit off the quarterback in that aspect, but so there's a little bit more freedom there for the OL to do some things, but they're all communicating well and on the same page. But man, between Putnam and Parks and Tate, those 3 guys they've played a lot of ball. They got a lot of experience. They've seen a lot of looks, and that's a real blessing. Even if they're all wrong, they're all right. They're rarely not on the same page, and so those guys, and you kind of got to build it from the inside out that way, and so it's a good group and fun to see those guys put it together.
Dabo, the buzz this time of year is always high when it comes to football, but I think it's going to be kind of higher coming this season with Coach Riley and Cade leading the offense. So how excited are you for the nation to see what this offense has?
Super excited. I mean, these guys have put in a lot of work. The staff's done a great job. I mean, it's been a lot of fun, really, since January, and just kind of, getting everybody on the same page, and and then being able to take it to the practice field and start to build some confidence and some rhythm. It's been really good. So I'm super excited, for them to see our team, not just our offense. I want them to see, man, we want to see a great team. That's what I'm most excited about. I like our team, and hopefully we can continue to develop over these next 26 days, and play well right out of the gate. It's a hard matchup, and it's hard to be clicking on all cylinders right out of the gate. But hopefully, we got a veteran enough group that we can play well early, make the adjustments we need to early. But it's exciting, man. I mean, we got some good people in a lot of good places, and we just catch a little break this year from a health standpoint. I think these guys will be fun to watch.
J.D. Lucas was in green the other day, or purple.
Yeah, I mean, we got some, it's that time of year, you got 5 practices, and he was back out there full go today. Get guys in and out of practice. Green is just, they're practicing, they're just a little limited for whatever reason, short term. Sometimes the guy's just sick. And then, guys in yellow are out a few more days. We've got some long-term guys in yellow that we all know about, but occasionally you'll get a guy in yellow that you want them with the trainers working on their rehab to get back sooner. And then, when we have guys in green, they're in practice. We're just got them limited for whatever reason. He was back out there today.
In general, what are you looking for from him, sort of overall?
Consistency, maturity and consistency. That's it. He's physically really, really in a good spot, man. I mean, he's a big old long dude. He can run, but just mental consistency and mental toughness and just a little bit more maturity this year. And I think he's made some strides in that area. But like you said, he was limited. He had I think practiced the first 2 days, and then he was limited a couple of days, and he was back out there today. So just being able to consistently be out there and then consistently do his job the way we need it.
Khalil Barnes was one of the big stories of the spring game. Have you seen him kind of pick up where he left off?
Yep. He's a good player. He's not overwhelmed. He's a natural football player, natural instincts for the game. Physically, he's really gifted. So he's put himself in position to help us.
Not sure if you saw this, but excuse me, Brian Kelly, LSU, put in a new twice-a-week NFL-style injury report. He said it was intended to kind of combat gambling pressures that you have someone on staff didn't pick that, obviously, because of Iowa State. Have you talked at all with the team or thought about kind of that as a new part of college sports gambling? How much
No,
that
I
is
hadn't seen
now?
it. What is it? Tell me what it is. Let's think about it. What is the policy?
He's going to do a twice
I'm not
a
gonna
week.
like it. What is it?
Twice a week injury report, I think, on game day, maybe midweek. And he said it was intended to combat the idea of maybe someone on his staff getting pressured or bugged to the point where they might be in a situation where they get in trouble for gambling stuff and deter purposes.
Okay. We used to do that. Didn't we used to do that? I mean, it seemed like we used to do that every week. Didn't we release it all or whatever? It was part of the policy. And then some people weren't doing it. I don't know how we ever got there. COVID, maybe. Everybody just said nothing. So I don't really have a problem with it, to be honest with you. I just, it's really not that big a deal to me. I would be perfectly fine if everybody had to release it on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. I think early in the week's probably, if a guy's out, but it's really, I'm fine either way. No big deal.
Gambling wise, is that something y'all address with?
Oh yeah. If you gamble, you're going to be done. You can't gamble on college sports. You just can't do it. So it's really pretty straightforward message. And we send, anytime something happens, that's just something we always do. Whether it's college football or pro football or just something stupid in the world going on, we send that to our players. They get a text from Uncle Dooley. The wise learn from others, right? We all learn from our own experiences, whether they're good or bad, mistakes, whatever. But wise people learn from others' mistakes and successes. And we've talked about it a lot. It's a sad situation, and you just you can't do it. You can, but you jeopardize your opportunity to play, so got to make the right decisions.
You mentioned you'll be out on Jervey the next couple of days before the scrimmage on Saturday. What are some of the biggest things you'll be looking for in the next few practices?
Just continuing to get them ready, scrimmage ready. You know, like I said, we've gotten in our normal down stuff. We've done third downs. We've got into some red zone and some green zone. We'll get into some short yards and goal line tomorrow. We'll get in a little 2-minute tomorrow. So just continuing our situational installation, but also our offense, defense, and kicking game installation. We just got a lot of things we got to do. It's just a lot of work, a lot of things that we have to get done. And then, so that's from a coaching standpoint. And then from a player standpoint, I just want to see them. I want to see them, mentally push through. This is full pads tomorrow, the first day where we'll get a little bit of live work. Jervey Meadows, it really ain't very nice. It's going to be hopefully hot. It's a quick turnaround. We kind of flip the camp starting tomorrow, from a late afternoon to a morning. Which is kind of purposeful in how we do it. Just see them. I want to see the leaders lead. I want to see them embrace it and love it. And I want to see the mental toughness. I mean, that's really, and continue to do your job consistently when you're tired, when you're a little fatigued, all those things. So those are all kind of things you're looking for. But we got a lot to get done tomorrow. And then Friday will be a double day for us in the morning. Then we'll Friday night as well. Again, a lot of special situational type stuff, be it special teams and offense and defense. I'm excited to see them play Saturday. Just got a lot of guys. It's been a while since they've played, without some type of constraint. So, and we only get 2 of those opportunities. So it's kind of our first preseason game, if you will. And so I'm excited to see some of these young guys and kind of evaluate. We got to evaluate a lot of guys. We're repping 3 groups on both sides and getting some 4s in there as well with a few reps here or there. So just trying to get as many people on tape as we can and get as good evaluation as we can, by the time we get to next weekend. Because when we come back, whatever that Monday, that's when we kind of start to turn the page a little bit to opponent prep. And, so – Big week and a half coming up.
With scrimmage, who in particular are you looking to kind of see, guys that you said haven't played in a while? Who kind of do you have in mind for who you're watching?
Well, I want to see some of these young guys. We talked about Tyler Brown. We talked about Tink. We talked about Noble and Rono. See some of these young guys that we need some depth from. I'd like to see them a little bit. I want to see a couple of those young tight ends. I feel really good about Brittany and Sage and Sapp. I think all 3 of those guys have really demonstrated that, man, they're ready to help us. And I think that's a good group. But, man, I love the couple young guys we got in that room. And so I want to see them in their first setting there. I want to see where Wade is. We're trying to purposely get Wade a bunch of reps, to really create the type of depth we need. And I've been really pleased with him to this point, but I want to see him in a scrimmage situation. I think we know what we got in Barrett and we've got in Trotter. So, that's kind of the main thing. I'm really pleased with our corners. Man, I'm super excited about the guys we got at corner. I mean, this is a good group. It's a competitive group. So I want to see a couple of those young guys, kind of see how they manage the scrimmage. And then Hoffler and Ojebwe. T.J. Parker is just kind of he's a guy that's really put himself in a good spot. He's going. I feel really good about him because we know what we got in Mask on XT. So Denhoff, he's already off to a good start camp wise. So I want to see him and Zaire, take more of a role. And then let's see where Hoffler and Ojebwe are, and then Armand and Jaheim. Those are a couple guys as well that are kind of flashing. So there's a lot of guys. Just want to see personnel and really get a good evaluation on them.
Shipley was telling us that the offense got off a couple of bangers against the defense. Do you feel like this new offense is putting stress on the defense? It's actually a good test for this defense to go up
Sure.
against the offense?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be. We're going to be explosive. Again, we've got all hands on deck. We've got experience. Shipley and Moffa have played a lot of ball now. Brenny's a junior. Bo, Antonio. Adam and Cole, these are elite players. We got some weapons out there, and then Cade is, a special player. He's got a ton. We got everybody back up front except for McFadden. So we're just a lot further along and a lot of confidence. And then Garrett's done an awesome job of just putting it together. The guys are executing it. So, I mean, we've hit some big plays and we've missed some plays too. Defensively, they're a pretty salty bunch over there. They're a handful.
Yeah, have you been able to see anything from Jarvis Green, or is he still one of those guys that you want to see in the scrimmage?
Yeah, I need to see. I mean, what I've seen of him is kind of exactly what I thought. Well coached, very athletic, very natural. Very polished young back. Easy to see that. Has a high football IQ. Again, he's played at a high level for a long time and has a ton of confidence and has run for 1,000,000 yards. So, he's just you can see he's got a lot of confidence. But yeah, I want to see him in some competitive situations and see where he is from there.
You mentioned Armand and Jaheim. How much have they advanced since the spring in terms of being guys who play every game?
A ton. Jaheim's 240. He's a natural pass rusher. I mean, very, very natural. And now he's kind of solidified his body a little bit. I mean, he's 240. He's put himself in position now where, he can compete. And then Jaheim's the same thing. Armand's 240, and he showed up here about 195. And he is explosive. He can jump. I mean, I know he's a walk-on guy, but man, this guy he's got some ability. So they're kind of down the line right now from a depth standpoint, but they're flashing. I think Armand he had 2 sacks today. So we're mixing and matching groups, and how we rotate the groups. And that's the other thing I try to do in practice is not let them get in a rhythm of who they compete against every snap. And I change it up. And so, a lot of times it's just 1-on-1s, if you will, and sometimes it's 2s-on-1s because we need to. That 2 needs to. He needs to either show he can do it or be exposed that he can't. And so we've got to challenge him. But Armand and Jaheim have both worked really hard physically to get their bodies in position to where they can compete and help us. And we got another kid named Levi Matthews that's kind of in that same category. He was about 190 pounds when he got here, and he's right around in that 235 range, about 6'5.5", 6'6" kid.
Dabo, do you think that teams like USC, Notre Dame, and Miami will be a challenge for your team?
Do I think that? Say that one more time.
Do you think there will be a challenge for your team?
USC, as in South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
And Miami and Notre Dame. Absolutely, they're going to be a challenge. Good football teams. I mean, I think Duke's going to be a challenge. I think everybody we play is going to be a challenge. I mean, we got a great respect for. All of our opponents. Those are really good teams. Heck, we lost South Carolina last year, so that's definitely got to go down there. And Miami is they're Miami. That's a good football team, a lot of talented players, well coached. And then Notre Dame. What about FSU? You want to leave them out? I think they're going to be pretty good too. I think NC State's going to be a challenge. I think North Carolina's going to be a challenge. Man, Wake Forest, double overtime last year. They're a tough challenge. Syracuse, that's a nightmare. It's a tough. We got a tough road. I think there's nobody on our team that's on our schedule that's not going to be a challenge. They're all going to be a challenge.
I guess last year early in camp, punting was a little shaky. I guess do you feel better about punting
Yep.
this far?
Way better. Way better. In fact, we had a little punt. We had a little punt off to finish practice today, and really pleased with Aiden, his consistency, and then Jack is starting to turn the corner. From a consistency standpoint, just confidence, maturity. He's really physically developed. He's a big old dude. But man, Aiden's holding his own. So we've been really consistent there. I'm pleased with that so far, and hopefully it'll continue to be that way, and we'll have some competition. I love that right now. Like Aiden's having to compete, and he's answering the bell, and Jack's coming. So it's fun to watch.
Anyone else for Coach?
Our sports director, Beth, couldn't be here tonight, but she is dying to know Barbie or Oppenheimer.
I don't know either one of them. I mean, I've heard of the movies, but I haven't seen either one. I would probably opt for Oppenheimer if I went to watch one because, when I was at Alabama, my recruiting area, I don't even know if this is in the movie or not. I have no idea. It's about the atomic bomb, right? Yeah. When I was at Alabama, my recruiting area was East Tennessee. And so I had Oak Ridge, Tennessee, which was they called that the hidden city. I remember the first time I was going there, I'm like, what? And that's the first time I learned that. So I don't know if it references Oak Ridge. Oh, do they? So yes, that was a pretty fascinating thing and I signed, T. Higgins was from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, but I signed a couple kids at Alabama from Oak Ridge. And so I always enjoyed going over there, but I always felt like, okay, what's down that road? It's like, look, some of these shady roads, man. It's like, okay, they built the atomic bomb there or whatever, but it was called the Hidden City. But anyway, yeah, that'd probably be the one. I'll probably pass on the other one. Yeah, y'all give. Yeah, I do. Yeah, y'all give me the cliff notes on that one. Yeah.
Anyone else? All right, thanks, Coach.
Okay.